Detective Loris was sorting through old case files when a knock echoed on the office door. It was Kanan, the young, newly appointed detective. "We've got a new case, Detective," he announced. Loris stood up, grabbed his coat and a cigarette, slipping the cigarette into his pocket as he followed Keenan out the door. Detective Loris was 60, with sharp gray eyes, neatly combed silver hair, and a long, straight nose. He had the air of a man who'd seen too much. Detective Kennan, only 24, was fresh to the force, still wearing the ambition of youth, but had already made a name for himself by cracking a difficult case, which led to his assignment under Loris. By 10 a.m., the detectives arrived at the scene. A crowd had gathered around the building, and police agents were speaking to neighbors, trying to stitch together bits of gossip and guesses. Yellow tape marked the boundary, fluttering in the breeze. Loris and Kennan flashed their badges and ducked under the tape. Inside the bedroom, the victim lay lifeless on the bed. A man, mid-30s, face turned slightly to the side. Blood had dried around his chest and beneath his head. Detective Loris gestured toward the body. "What do you see, Keenan?" Kennan slipped on his gloves and crouched beside the bed. He waved his hand slightly, thinking aloud. The victim was stabbed in the back of the head," he noted, "and also hit in the chest. So, I'd say he saw his killer. The chest wound suggests a frontal attack." Loris nodded thoughtfully. "So who do you think did it?" "I can't say for sure yet," Keenan replied. "We just don't have enough information, but the frontal wound makes it seem personal. Maybe someone close." Loris crouched beside him. "How did you come to that conclusion?" Kennan hesitated, unsure. Loris stood and waved a hand. "Call the criminologists. Tell them to document everything carefully. Have the body transferred for autopsy as soon as possible. We need answers." "Yes, sir." Keenan rushed out. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon when Keenan reappeared, bursting into the police dining hall with a file in hand. The hall was quiet, rows of tables and chairs neatly lined up. In the left corner, Loris sat alone, examining a white handkerchief and occasionally lifting it to his nose, as if catching a faint scent. "Detective!" Kennan called out. He approached quickly. "We've got the preliminary report." Loris gestured for him to continue. Kennan opened the file. The victim's name was Robert Smith, born in 1990. He was unmarried. According to the report, he last spoke with his father the night before his death. He mentioned a planned vacation with a close friend, the same one he's known since childhood. Loris leaned forward. "What time was the murder estimated?" "Between 8 and 9 a.m., according to the autopsy." "Is that all?" "For now, yes." "Gather more background on the victim and the friend he was going to travel with. Bring it to my office." "Yes, sir." Kennan turned to leave, then paused. "I have the father's address here," he said, pulling a slip of paper from the file and handing it to Loris. Later, a light knock sounded on Loris's door. "Yes," he called, not looking up from a file. "Sir," said an officer at the door, "Detective Kennan asked me to tell you, Robert Smith's father is here. They're waiting in the interrogation room." "Thank you. I'll be right there." Loris entered the room moments later, where an older man sat with weary eyes and shaking hands. "I'm sorry for your loss," Loris said gently. "We'll do our best to find the killer, but to do that, we'll need your help." Mr. Smith nodded, voice strained. "Of course, I'll do my best. Ask me anything." Before Loris could say another word, the father began talking. "My son was excited yesterday," he said. "He told me he was taking a vacation, just the two of them, like old times." "Robert planned to go with someone?" "Yes," Mr. Smith nodded. "With his longtime friend. Her name is Sarah." Loris's brows lifted. "Sarah?" "Yes, Sarah Ford," Mr. Smith confirmed with a heavy sigh. "Could you tell us more about her?" Loris asked. "Well," Mr. Smith began, 25 years ago, a couple with one child moved into our neighborhood. That child was Sarah. She became Robert's only real friend, or perhaps more than a friend. She was his girlfriend, and Robert once told me he hoped she'd be his future wife." "Do they still live on your street?" Loris inquired. "Oh no, they moved away some time ago. And I don't have their new address, Mr. Smith said. How about Sarah herself? Do you know where she lives? No, I'm afraid I don't. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You've helped a lot. Later, outside the interrogation room. Did you speak with him, Detective? Kanan asked as Laura stepped out. Yes, Kanan. I want you to gather all available information on Sarah Ford and her family. Every detail, where she works, lives, even her social ties. Everything needs to be on my desk by tomorrow morning. Yes, Detective. Sarah stood at home when the door buzzed. She opened it to find two men holding out badges. I'm Detective Loris, one of them said calmly. And this is my colleague, Detective Keenan. We're here to ask a few questions regarding the death of Robert Smith. A voice echoed from inside the house. Who is it, my love? Without turning around, Sarah called back, just someone asking questions. Then, to the detectives, she added flatly, I haven't seen Robert in over a year. How can I help when I don't even know anything? And with that, she closed the door in their faces. Keenan stepped forward, hand raised to knock again, but Loris stopped him. No, we'll wait for her at the hospital. She works at General. She's a nurse. Two detectives sat in a small waiting room, their coats draped over the backs of their chairs. The door swung open, and Sarah entered briskly. You two again? She said, annoyed. I told you, I don't know anything. Loris stood and walked closer. We just need to ask what caused your friendship with Robert to end. We've heard you were close. She folded her arms. You think I killed him? We didn't say that, Kenan replied calmly. We're only asking about your relationship. We were just friends. Nothing more, nothing less. She immediately closed the door and gestured for them to sit. As I said, he was my childhood friend and we loved each other. Or at least, I thought he loved me. In fact, it was me who was in love with him. Almost 2 years ago, I confessed my feelings and suggested we get married. But Robert didn't feel the same. He said he only saw me as a friend, and admitted he was in love with another woman. After hearing that from him, I decided to forget the idea of marrying him. Then my fiancé came into my life. He's a very jealous man. I didn't want my fiancé to suffer, so I cut all ties with Robert. Loris rose first, glanced at Kenan, then said to Sarah, You've helped us a lot. The two detectives left the hospital. Detective Loris, I think Sarah's fiancé is the murderer, Kenan said. How do you know, Kenan? It's simple. She said her fiancé is very jealous. Well, he can't be the killer. Why not? Because Robert never loved Sarah. There must be another woman involved in this case. We have to find her. How can we find her? Let's go back to Robert's home. Maybe we missed something the first time. Every corner of the house was searched. Even Robert's phone was checked several times, but no trace of the mysterious woman was found. Kenan turned to Loris. Detective, Sarah fooled us. There is no other woman. We're chasing a ghost. There's one place left we haven't searched. Sarah's home? No, Robert's father. Kenan opened the door to Loris's office and said, It's 5:30 p.m., Detective. I want to go home. Don't you want to head home? Loris stood up, grabbed his coat, and replied, Yes, I want to go too, but not home. Where do you want to go? Kenan asked. Robert's father's home. Should I come with you? No, go home and rest. I'll go alone. A beautiful woman in her 40s opened the door. Detective Loris, she smiled at him. Please come in. You must be Robert's mother, Loris said as he stepped toward the door. Mr. Smith smiled as he walked forward. No, you're mistaken, he said, taking the woman's hand. She's my fiancée, Lisa. Nice to meet you, Loris said, extending his hand to shake Lisa's hand. Come join us for dinner, Detective, Mr. Smith invited. Thank you, but my wife is waiting for me. I'm just here to see Robert's room. Unfortunately, I turned Robert's room into my office, Mr. Smith explained. Then, may I see his things, if he left anything behind? Unfortunately, he didn't leave anything. Are you looking for something specific? Oh, no, Loris replied, then moved toward the door. But suddenly, he turned back to the woman and said, Best wishes, Miss Lisa. October 24th, 8:30 a.m. 2 police cars stopped near the house. An officer rang the doorbell. The door opened, and the officer said, You are under arrest for the murder of Robert Smith." The man slammed the door and ran toward the backyard, where another officer was waiting. He was quickly apprehended and transferred to the police department. The interrogation room door opened, and Loris and Keenan entered. The man stood up, aggressively shouting, "I'm warning you to release me." "Sit down, Mr. Smith," Loris said calmly. "Let's go over the details." "On September 8th at 1 a.m., you parked 2 streets away from your son's home, disguised yourself with a hat, and went to his house. Why the disguise? Because of the CCTV cameras. I didn't want to be recognized by his neighbors. I knew his building had no cameras," Mr. Smith admitted, his voice shaking. Loris placed several pictures and a handkerchief on the table. Mr. Smith picked up the handkerchief and stared at it. "He wasn't serious about her," he murmured. "He just wanted to satisfy his sexual needs." He paused, his voice heavy. "But I truly love her. I knew he was having an affair with Lisa, and that night I went to his house to tell him I knew."